Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Welcome to the Secrets of a Ghostwriter. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about something that so many people have experienced. And it's often where the self-doubt begins and the blame distribution kicks in. So if you've seen the tutorial, Yay, Happy Publication Day, where we talk about people who only promote their product on the day it comes out. They've had a year, they've been working on it, and they've never even mentioned it. And then suddenly, because it's perfect for them, their social media floodgates open on the day the book comes out. You've a lifetime to sell a book, they forget to sell it after that day. This is really like a part two of Yay, Happy Publication Day. You'll be amazed how many times I've been involved with people, and after about a month, they will ring me and go, I've only sold 50 copies. There can be many reasons for that, but the most obvious one, aside from the quality of the book, is they've done no publicity. I'll say to them, well, what have you done? And they'll say, well, a few of my friends reviewed it. And that is always a sensible place to start. You've got to start that domino effect. So start it with people who will do you that favor and who do know you. But yes, you've got a lifetime to sell a book. So you shouldn't be judging the sales of a book after a month, but you should be looking for momentum to pass the baton from one person to the other. Now, you can spend and invariably waste money on marketing people, but you can also do so much yourself. So if you take that Happy Publication Day tutorial, where I tell you that you should be working way further back in the process before the day the book comes out, you could have been joining conversations about the subject matter of your book. So let's take a really simple example. June 2024. It's the 80th anniversary of the Allied forces landing in Normandy, what is known as D-Day, and bringing the beginning of the process that liberates Europe from Nazi Germany. There are some really smart people that have had this date flagged up in their writing diaries for about a year, 2 years. One of the reasons for that is because the amount of people that are still living from 1944 dwindles every single day. So you would think that many of the real life stories that would come out of that D-Day have been told, but there are, of course, those stories that are passed down from generation to generation, and younger relatives want to renew those stories and give them a fresh life. The fact remains is that if you are a historical writer, you have clearly, we've all known about it, but clearly you have marked this date on your calendar a long time ago. Now, I'm not saying that the next bit has happened for all of those people, but if you were in that position, you could have joined conversations about World War II, about war, about battleships or cemeteries in Normandy or whatever. Some of that stuff might seem dark, but if it's your level of interest, probably your social media following already veers towards that field. And there's a couple of history guys that are really prolific. They're experts in their field that I do follow. They don't always reply to everything that you put in there, but you can put little seeds out from a long way in advance by working out who you're going to target, but who you're going to follow. So you can essentially, you're joining a conversation that probably already exists. So you've missed that opportunity if you've not been smart enough and you've only fallen for Happy Publication Day. So what do you do when you've gone past Happy Publication Day and it's not Happy Sales Day? Well, look, social media is the clue. You are an entrepreneur. This is your product. You've got to get out there, but you don't have to get out there. You know, you unlikely to be on TV shows. There aren't many TV shows that allow people other than celebrities to plug books. And in the UK, that's also the same for radio. But what's come along and sat right alongside radio that is brilliant for its uncensored, unpoliced, timeless nature, so rich in content where ordinary people tell extraordinary stories, that is, of course, the world of the podcast. And every day I get from mailing lists people looking for podcasts. And sometimes, the more niche you are, the better, because all the mainstream stuff has been discovered. So I might see a feed from somebody that's looking at antenatal classes or something. I mean, it's not going to be for me, despite my bulging belly, but it's broken down into subcategories quite often. And that might be where your area of expertise forms. So you can go on those podcasts. Listen, you never pay to go on a podcast. Some people will try and scam you and charge you, but you can go on those podcasts if you become aware of the people looking for podcasts. And then if that fails, and remember, potentially a podcast is a global audience, but also probably if it is niche, almost everybody coming to that podcast with their listening ears is interested in the genre. So that's your plus. But if you can't get on a podcast, what do? Start a podcast. It's simple. You could start a writing podcast, or you could start a podcast about your area of expertise. It doesn't need to run from now until the end of time. It could be a 6-parter. If it's successful, you bring it back due to popular demand. So you make your own energy. You don't ring me up after a month and say nothing's happening. And when I say, what have you done? You say, well, not much. You drive the thing yourself. And just a quick word on how do I get started on a podcast. You'll find so many tutorials and so many great services out there online that I don't need to spend more than a minute on this, but I'll just tell you how I operate. I've got a Yeti microphone. I think it comes in at under £100. I use the platform Riverside, which creates a virtual studio. So in my office, I've got my studio. When I share the email address of the person I want to talk to, they get the virtual studio at their end. And then I upload to Acast, which will distribute to, as they say, your podcast providers. Acast, I think the service that I use is maybe $35 a month. Riverside, I think I pay $220 a year. Those are 2024 prices, but you see the ballpark. I mean, you're talking about small sums of money, and they will essentially give you a virtual studio. You bought your microphone and they will distribute for you. And of course, if your podcast is really successful, you can take advertising within it. But what you must do as you create your product is understand that you've got to play in different platforms. So you play with the original platform of the book and the reviews that Amazon will hopefully give you. You play on social media. You play in the podcast sphere. So hopefully that should start you on your way if you're sitting there thinking nothing's happening. I hope that helps. And I'll see you next time when The Secrets of a Ghostwriter continues.